Here's about 25 slides of the exterior. And I'm Sage Saskill of Sage Designs Northwest, and I designed this building with Mary Kukules. She'd been thinking about this project for about 10 years, so she had some pretty solid ideas herself that she wanted to incorporate. And she saw one of my other projects on a green home tour that she was actually able to go see in the physical, and heard some good things about working with me and really loved the design she was standing in. So she hired me to do this project. This slide's just a little bit of housekeeping. And here was the schematic plan pretty early in the design. We didn't wind up with that bump out. We wound up with a rectangle. I'm not showing the attached garage, but the plan wound up a heck of a lot like this. We have a bedroom that's exactly code minimum, which is 70 square feet. And then the kitchen wound up just as a strip. And this is a passive solar study, so I always like to study the sun on any new project and get the heights correct of the sills and the heads for the windows, and also the length of the eaves to block out mainly the June sun, and then let in the winter sun and the spring and fall sun. And here's a 3D study. And the building wound up looking a heck of a lot like this, plus or minus some minor changes to the siding pattern. But we probably tried 20 different siding ideas, a couple of different materials, and a lot of different layouts of what was going to be where. And it wound up a lot like that. So here's coming up the driveway, and Mary has modernized her big house a little bit to match. And I think her color choices are excellent and really helps tie everything together. And she splurged a little bit on that garage door. And here's walking down the driveway onto the property. And she moved into this small house with her son. Originally, we didn't know what it was going to be. She wanted to build it and didn't know if it was going to be a rental or exactly what. And then recently she moved in and is doing something else with the big house. So here's the east side, and I'll talk a little bit more about this later, but she built a privacy wall between the existing deck and the new space. Kept the garage really simple. Here's from the southeast. And I was there just a few days ago, and you can see that the shadow line from the eaves lets in all the sun right now, and then those eaves block the summer sun. I really like her taste a lot. I love that Buddha and the bell. I love her colors. She's done a great job with the landscape to the south of this cottage and put up a privacy wall so that it's separate from the big house. And the homeowner, Mary, is pretty crafty. She's good with her hands and has some good ideas. And she added a garden shed and also a workshop to the outside of this building after the construction team left. So this garden shed she made is got a barn door, or a couple of barn doors on it, and it's all made out of reclaimed material from a fence that she took down. And she's a very organized person, so everything has its place. The shed itself is super organized and well crafted. She had a neighbor help her do some of the framing on this, and she did all the additional work, other work. So everything has its place. Also, you'll see once we go inside the house, everything has its place, super organized. And a real nice choice of materials and hardware. And then this is a barn door that leads to a shed that she built. So this was not part of the permit package. A little bit too close to the property line, but you can build a 200 square foot shed. So that's where this falls in. So it's not environmentally controlled, but it's warm. It's a dry space. You could put a heater out there, and it's a dry space for her construction projects. And she's always tinkering with something or adding a shelf or building something. So there's a shot of both of those sheds and also the Sandon. She has a very efficient heating unit that takes care of the domestic hot water and the in-floor heat. And the tree off to the right over there was an exceptional tree, so we had to be really nice to that in construction and respect that as we were putting in the foundation. And to be very careful and gentle about the foundation on that particular west side of the house. There's the sand, and I only know one other person in town who has one, and they're super efficient. And the hot water heater is a sealed unit. It's a special design, super efficient. So this particular unit doesn't provide cool like a typical heat pump. A cute little solar light. No wires required. I'm gonna have to get a couple of those myself. And there's the south. Again, I love those bright green doors and tasteful colors. I like her choice of lighting fixtures. Some kind of cat door off to the right. Not sure how effective or efficient that is, but. And then a little bit of a dark photo there, but she built this privacy wall to separate the big house from the patio that she built for the cottage. And she's going to turn that bathtub into a hot tub somehow. In just a couple minutes, she's going to join us for a live interview. So that's from that patio of the big house. Pretty straightforward design. A tall box with a shed roof and a lower eave to take care of some of that high sun angle. And a little bit of fun with the siding pattern. Added a little expense, but not excessive. And again, a solid nod of thanks to our sponsors. Really helps us be able to pull off this tour. And appreciation for all of the organizers who found this software to be able to host this similar to a conference and be able to pull this off online and have everybody's building on the tour. So that is the exteriors. I'm going to open it up for a couple minutes to questions, and then we're going to have Mary join us. So have any questions on any of those slides or on any of the anything else on the project?
Wondering what type of siding she used.
So that was the wood siding. Let's see, let me go back to that. So it's wood siding, and let's see if that's a better shot. The brighter stuff is wood siding, and then this is just typical, you know, common hardy board, which is cement board siding. I'm getting
So
an
you,
echo for some reason.
you like the hardy board?
I like it a lot. I only know a couple of people who don't like it, but I find that it's very easy to work with and it's durable. And if you get it pre-painted, that's the way to go.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So let's see, any other questions? I'm gonna just not run another slideshow and wait for Mary to join us and have an interview with her. And I see names dropping in and dropping out on the screen here. I don't see faces, but it's nice to have you join in. I appreciate it. And hopefully we hear from Mary in a minute. So I've been practicing architecture for over 20 years, and I hung out my own shingle in Seattle in 2007. 2008 was a bit of a rough year, but other than that, I've been having a good time doing what I do, and I do consider myself an architect for the people, so I can work with people on all different levels. And I don't come preloaded with a style. If you give me carte blanche, it's going to wind up being modern, but if you want it to look like a fairy tale castle, we can do that too. So again, I understand I'm going to get everybody's email that came to visit my site, and I'm going to send out a thank you and let you know that if you're interested in a consultation, there's an offer for $50 off of that for dropping in on the tour today.
Sage, I'm here. It's Mary.
Hi, Mary. I
Hi.
don't see your face. Great. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah,
Appreciate-
I don't think I'm able to be viewed, so.
Okay. Let me see if it's on my end to do that or not do that. Maybe that's why I'm only seeing everybody's names and not faces.
My name should be there.
I saw one. No, I did see one person's face. So there might be something on your end to share video. Doesn't look like it's on my end to be able to do that. Let's see. Oh, ask to start video. How about that?
There you go.
Here's Mary. Hi, Mary. Thanks for being punctual. I appreciate that. I've been talking you up and looking forward to you joining us.
Yes,
So,
I've been here for about a half hour watching.
oh, that's weird. I didn't see your name on the screen at all.
Oh,
That's pretty interesting.
yeah.
So now I see I've got a few other visitors besides you and me. So let me just start out by asking you once again, if you have a few words you'd like to say about the design process working with me and Sage Designs Northwest.
Sure. Well, first of all, the thing that I most appreciated about the design process, and what I heard also from the person that I went to interview that worked with you before, is that you really listened to what I wanted. And that's what the other person said as well. I mean, sometimes I almost wish you wouldn't have listened to me so much, but you said that you would have nixed anything that was too weird. So you really listened to everything I wanted, and I got everything I wanted out of the whole design process. And so that was probably my absolute favorite thing about the design process, because I did interview other people, and right away from the beginning, I could tell that they came predetermined with some ideas that they weren't necessarily going to be open to what I wanted to do. And since I had been working on this project in my head for about 10 years, I had, like you said, some pretty solid ideas about what I wanted.
That's great. There's a woman online right now, Joan, who said she's got some ideas she's been thinking about too. And I appreciate you reinforcing that. Yep, I can collaborate and help you with your ideas and make them stronger and bring them to life. So thanks for that. Let's see. Will you tell us a couple of your favorite features of the house, Mary? I know I interviewed you the other day, and unfortunately, the sound quality didn't work out so great.
Yeah, no problem. Do you want to shift to the inside, an inside
Sure.
picture?
Yep, I can do that. Let's see.
It's really hard, honestly, to pick a couple things that I like about this house. I will just say I love everything about this house, but if I have to pick just a couple things, on the top of the list, I would say that I never have, and we moved in December, so it's been a while now. I've never had to think about the control of temperature in the building. And I moved out from a 1943 war box type house with gas heating, which heats up very fast, but I had to fuss with the heating every single day. And this, we set the temperature at 68 on the day we moved in, and I've never once had to adjust the heating. It just regulates itself. It's the oddest thing. I mean, it's just fantastic. The temperature stays just so constant. If it does get a little warm, I just simply either turn a fan on or I open a window. Not today, though. There's no windows open here today.
No.
But it's fantastic. It's such a tight build, but it's just such a beautiful environmental temperature. So that's my favorite thing. Another thing I really love about it is the kitchen, the efficiency of the kitchen. I know seems small to some people, and tiny house living is not for everyone, but it is for me. And I designed this kitchen with Sage to be exactly what it is. It's a galley style kitchen that's has lots of counter space with the island that I put in, and there's nothing in that kitchen that I'm wanting for. I mean, I have a mixer, an air fryer, a convection oven, an induction cooktop, a dishwasher, a microwave, plenty of storage, a refrigerator with an ice maker. All my appliances are Energy Star efficient, a coffee maker. I mean, there's just nothing that I don't have that I need. Putting the dishes away is very simple. I just literally put them up on the shelf. I just like the simplicity of the entire kitchen.
Oops. That's fantastic. Thanks.
I guess I'm gonna have to pick one more thing I really love about the house, and that is the openness of it. I walk in, and everybody that has walked in also feels like you walk in and it's just so open, and the ceiling is so high when you first walk in that it does not feel tiny. It feels quite open and spacious, and I tend to be kind of claustrophobic. So I think I would be really sensitive to really small space. And this does not make me feel at all claustrophobic. It feels quite open and quite comfortable for me.
That's great. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's always exciting to hear that it's working out so well. Let's see, I had asked you about the sanding the other day, but you didn't, you said you didn't really know a heck of a lot about that other than the fact that it works great and you don't have to think about it, which is good. We had two questions earlier today about one, if there's any air filtration, and two, if you have a way to cool. And so I'll leave you to that to answer.
Air filtration, I guess there's nothing to filter because I don't have any forced air, right?
Right.
So all the cooling is done through the floor. Is that right? I'm not even quite sure, to be honest. The heating is done through the floor. And so there's no filtration in that. And then what was the second question?
You don't have a cooling unit, right?
No, well, no, the only cooling I have is opening a door or turning a fan on, which every room has a fan, an energy efficient fan. And that seems to be all I need. I did hardwire in right above where I'm standing right now. You can't see the faceplate that is on the wall right above that window. I did wire in for a mini split in case I needed it for heating or cooling, because I wasn't quite sure if it was going to be too hot or if it was going to be too cold, because my son has no heating upstairs in the loft. But that is definitely not a problem for him, which we can get to when we talk about that.
Right.
And cooling does not seem to be a problem either. So I don't think I'm going to, unless global warming really starts to kick up in even more, which is definitely a possibility.
Yeah, it is.
I can put a mini split in there if I need to. And to answer the question that was just popped in, yes, I have radiant floor heat throughout the lower level floor.
Okay, and I didn't see a question pop in, so are you looking at a chat?
Yeah, the chat question popped in about radiant, do I have heated floors?
Somehow I'm not seeing that. I gotta see what's going on here. There we go. There's my chat. Okay. Thanks, Mary. This is working well. If you want to stick around a few minutes, what about if we just go through these interior slides and you animate them?
Sure.
Okay, let's try that. I'm going to start the interior slideshow. I'm going to leave it to you. They run at about 20 seconds a piece, and I'm going to leave it to you to do the voiceover.
Oh man, I only get 20 seconds? That's going to be tough.
Yeah, that's okay. You can talk into the next slide. And then the first few are more about the design and a little bit of housekeeping. So here's the housekeeping, just so to play fair with everybody. And there's the floor plan, and we didn't get that little bump. We got a 16 by 20 rectangle, and otherwise the layout's pretty much like that. And we started
Almost exactly. The only difference is, other than the bump, is that we did not add the L shape in the kitchen.
right.
We kept it in efficiency.
Just a straight shot.
Yep. And mostly the passive solar is working really well in the house. So unless I'm couch bound,
Right.
there are some tiny issues with that if I'm on the couch 24/7, but thankfully that's not an issue right now. And that's pretty much what it looks like. No hammock.
No, not yet.
Yeah, my bedroom is a little bit, there's a lot of clothes in there. I mean, that's a bad shot from what, it looks really crowded, but I don't go in my bedroom except to sleep. So I use it very efficiently. That's my linen closet, my library, my craft room, my dresser, my storage bin. That's everything. My shoe closet, everything is in this room, and it's just so efficient. You really have to figure out what you need and what you don't. Here I did some of the things I did myself. I did that railing, the the cable railing myself, did the ladder myself. I had them, I wanted them to keep that exposed beam because I thought that was very unique. One of the best things about this is it's very adaptable. I can move the kitchen aisle towards the kitchen and I can widen up the living room space, or I can make the kitchen bigger by moving the couch over. So depending on what I'm doing and needing, I can just adapt it. I've had, 4 teenage boys in this house playing board games at once here, and it's been tons of fun. So you can have people in a tiny house. Those are bamboo kitchen cabinets. I did the kitchen, all the tiling in the tiny house myself, the kitchen tiling and the bathroom tiling. I like doing a lot of little projects, so that was fun for me.
I didn't realize you had done the bathroom tile as well. I think it looks great.
That's a washer dryer combo. If anybody's afraid to get one of those, they are fantastic. Never have to think about it. You put your laundry in, and then when it's done, it's like ready to fold and put away. It's fantastic.
That's cool. No shifting from one machine to the other.
That's right. That ladder pivots on the rod up there by the beam, and it goes flat against the wall, so that if I don't need to go up into the loft, I can make it go flat against the wall and have more space. It's aluminum industrial, like a mezzanine ladder.
I'm going to have to come over and get a shot of that folded against the wall, Mary.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I did the shower surround myself as well. That was really tricky. I had to have a couple friends helping me with that. And that was, I wish I had done a slightly bigger shower. That's a 36-inch corner. I wish I would have done a 38-inch corner shower. Installed the medicine cabinet and the bathroom cabinet myself. I saved a lot of money by doing a lot of these things myself. Somebody asked about the building costs. We were actually under $150,000 because I did so much myself.
That's amazing.
I think the total builder cost were $109,000.
Wow.
And my costs were about $15,000 for tile, floor, doors, shower, appliances, permits about 4,000, architecture close to 10. So all in all, I think the whole building cost is about $138,000.
That's fantastic, Mary.
Yeah, it was a really efficient, financially, it was really efficient.
Really efficient. And then what year was the construction completed? Was that the end of 2019?
Yes, it was officially completed November or December of 2019, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's helpful to know.
And, I did a lot of shopping around. The doors, although they're custom, although they're Home Depot, I did some custom aspects to them, getting that opaqueness. We used to get some light from that into the room, but yet they're very private, and there's no shadows. So I did a lot of leg work for this project myself. The lighting, for example, I purchased all those things myself, but had the builders install it. This is, I did all the closet, I used industrial pipe for closets in both rooms, and it was really efficient because it made it super easy to hang things without having to have a separate closet. Now we should talk about the sanding unit being so hot. It really made my son's room hot, and he was really having a hard time up there. So I wrapped all the pipes in foam and tape, and then created that, I made that divider with some rigid foam inside of the framing for that, and that dropped the temperature in there. I should have measured it significantly, and we moved his bed, reoriented his bed to the other side of the room, and it totally made his experience up there much better. We have a very efficient fan as well. So that is it's a Minka Air fan, and it has both winter and summer direction, and it also has multiple speeds on there. So it just totally, it's like my air conditioner. It totally gives me the cooling that any cooling that I might need for that building. The countertops are quartz. I ordered those myself as well. I found, you know, the best price I could, and had arranged all that to be installed. You know, when you let the builders do your appliance buying, they kind of mark things up about 30%. When I found that out, I bought everything myself: the sink, the stove, the cooktop, the refrigerator, the dishwasher, and I just was able to shop around and get things at a much better price. I brought furniture in from my big house, so I really had no furniture cost except for 2 beds, which I bought just basic platform beds that would fit into the rooms and provide me with extra storage underneath those beds. And I created under bed storage for those 2 beds as well. So I have a ton of storage in this tiny house. I could even add more storage. I need to add a library shelf somewhere, but not quite yet.
I'm waiting for the photo to come back around to the kitchen so you can show us the notch you made in the wall to open the fridge.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So
I'm not sure I have a good shot of that.
yeah, the refrigerator, there is a little bit of an issue. The refrigerator fit fine in the spot. This is one of the problems when you do things yourself. It fit fine in the spot that we had, but the door opening was not quite smooth. And so there was a lot of discussion between me and my friends. Well, what do we do? What do I do about this? And we ended up coming up with a solution of notching out the wall to allow space for that door to open up into, well, you'll see when you get to the kitchen picture. And it totally works. The only thing I wish we would have done differently there is made the notch all the way down to the floor instead of just halfway.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
When this slideshow ends, I'm going to see if I can find a shot of that. I don't know if I show that very well, but that was pretty clever. So you just took out the layer of drywall?
Yeah, we just cut out the drywall, and then we framed it in with some plastic edging for tiling, and I taped it, mudded it, and painted it, and it turned out pretty good.
It looks like the rest of the wall. So here's a nod to our sponsors, and thank you to the organizers to pull this off. You know, I think for a dozen years or more, it's been a physical tour, and everybody's been able to go inside of these wonderful buildings And this year we needed another alternative, and the organizers came up with a platform that seems to be working. And just so you know, out there in Cyberland, Mary has also offered to let people tour her home in the physical. If you'd like to do that, you can coordinate that through me, and we'll figure that out. I'm going to go back to see if I can find that kitchen shot. Oh yeah,
Just to address, oh yeah, there's the notch.
kind of see it right there, but
Yeah.
not a great shot, but it's pretty subtle. And unless you're looking for it, you don't really notice it at all. But it was a clever solution. But you wish you'd have done that so the freezer door would do the same, or what?
No, the freezer door, the freezer is a drawer. So
Drawer, okay.
But I just wish I would have done it all the way down so that from a design perspective, it would have just looked like it was more of a intentional thing.
Got it. Okay.
It would have
Got
looked
it.
better, but, and to your point about the cat door, it is a double walled cat door. And
Okay.
it's energy efficient, by the way.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I didn't look closely at that when I was over there the other day.
Mhm. And the divider wall there, I did not make that out of reused fence boards. I used
Okay.
new cedar fence boards, but that, again, cedar lasts a very, very long time. My
Yep.
old fence lasted 30 years, and I'm still using it on those other applications that.
Right.
So those cedar boards will last, you know, I'm guessing 50 years. So, if not longer, so.
Okay. Yeah, I think you're probably right about that. Well, thanks for clearing that up. So I see just a few people online with us right now, Mary. And the other day when I was looking at the stats, there was 174 people signed up to come and see our house. So I'm hoping in the course of the next couple hours that more people drop in and have some visitors that have been online with us for a little while now. So do people have any questions you want to ask out loud? I know there's been some questions on the chat. And thanks so much for being here. And I just see a couple comments coming on the screen now. And thank you. Yeah, Mary and me had a fun time working together and manifesting this dream, and it did turn out beautiful. I really like it a lot too.
Yeah, no problem. You're welcome.
So let's see. Yeah, I'm looking at some of the chat comments. And what else?
Oh, they wanted to know if the floor was heated by gas or electric, and it's electric.
Right.
I opted to not bring gas out to the tiny house because the cost was prohibitive. It would have been a minimum of $20,000 to bring gas out to the tiny house, and I really didn't need it. It was so efficient to use electric here that it just didn't make any sense.
And, frankly, I think electric's the way to go. When I bought my house in Seattle in 2005, gas was still popular and they were trying to talk me into bringing gas. And now, environmentally, I don't think gas is the ideal decision. I think electric is the way to go, especially around here where we get electric from water, and it just makes a lot of sense.
Somebody asked who the builder was. It was pro.com was our builder.
Yeah, do you want to say a few more words about that? And before you do, I just wanted to ask, how did you work out the business about you doing certain things and them doing certain things? Because I know some builders will do that and some builders prefer that, you write the checks and they give you the key when they're done.
Yeah, so working with Pro was a really, it was interesting, and it was a really great experience overall, I'd have to say. The best thing about working with Pro was they were extremely customer service oriented. So, and I kind of call them like the Nordstroms of the builder industry, maybe a little bit to their detriment. So anytime there was an issue or a problem or anything, I could easily go to them and they would just take care of it. So an example was I was going to do all the painting in the tiny house, inside and outside. I had my painter lined up because I knew my painter would do a great job and he was more cost efficient. So I had a 10-day window of when my painter could come in the summer of 2019. And the subcontractor for the drywall was way behind, and it totally ate up our entire 10-day window. So my painter couldn't come in. Well, Pro said, don't worry, we'll take care of the cost of the painting. Now that's a big deal. Of the cost of the interior painting, that's for them, that was a bid of a couple $1,000 or a few $1,000s. So for me, that was taking care of an issue that I just didn't have to deal with. So they were really great to work with. How I ended up getting the situation where I did certain things and they didn't is I learned that builders upcharge certain things like appliances and, well, everything that they do is upcharged, so per certain percentage. And I knew that I could find an induction cooktop for $89 or $120, right? On Amazon that had great ratings. But if I had them purchase it, it would probably cost $250. So I had arranged with them, I told them what I would pay for. I would do all the appliances. I would do the cabinets. I had them bid everything first. And then I looked at the bid and I said, well, I can do the tile. So I knew how much I could pull out of the bid for that. I can do the cabinets because I know how much I could pay for the cabinets by doing it through Home Depot. And so I knew I had a real quantitative, I could quantify the amount of money I was actually pulling from the bid to do it myself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And I only know one or two other builders that's willing to play that way. So that was pretty generous of them to be able to do that because, they I'm sure look at their overall profit margin to find out if a project's worth it in the first place, right?
Well, and I think that that Pro was in a position where they were really wanting to get into this kind of market. And so
Right.
they were willing to play along these lines. So I was in the right place at the right time.
I think, yeah, absolutely. I think you're absolutely right about that. Right on target.
Somebody asked how long it took to get dried in. My project had a lot of snafus with timing. We started in October of 2018, and we didn't even have a building up until June of 2019. I don't think we were dried in until June of 2019. It was kind of ridiculous. But, you have to be flexible when you're building. You have to be flexible and you have to know that things are going to just go on the timeline that they're going to go on. And while you have to be firm in dealing with the builder, you also have to be understanding about their situation and work with them. So it actually turned out to my benefit to just hang in there and work with them. So it took us over a year to build this tiny house, but I was able to, there were some significant benefits for me.
Appreciate you being candid about that. And I know there was some delays. So to the person who asked that question specifically about how long it took to get dried in, that's not necessarily the norm. But I think there was some issues with that company, but they did a beautiful job. You can tell it's very solidly built when you're in there and
Yes.
looking at it from the outside.
They did a beautiful job. The build is very good, very, very good. Let's see, Tracy asked if there's any differences between seasons. Let's see what, let me move this so I can see the whole question. Okay, let's see. Any differences between seasons you would share as best practices you learned from? Differences as in, I'm not sure what you mean by differences between seasons. Can you elaborate on what you mean by that? And while you're doing that, I can answer the details on the square footage and costs. Sage, thanks for correcting me out. For some reason, I thought we were living in 320 square feet, but you informed me that we are living in 480 square feet. And the cost to build was $109,000 for the builder, close to 10 for architecture and structural engineering, about 4,000 so for permitting, and I paid about 15,000 for the things that I paid for, such as tiling and floors and doors, shower, surround, appliances, and things like that. Oh, differences for the design decisions. Oh, that I should have done, Tracy. So you're saying, are there things I should have done for different design decisions between the seasons? I don't think so. I think that it's, you know, it's really, it all works pretty well for all the seasons so far that I've lived in. So there's one bedroom, one bathroom, and one loft. Base architecture decisions like where you placed windows. Oh, energy usage, warmth, cooling. I think the only thing we came up with is something that maybe we should have done a little bit different was Sage mentioned increasing the size of the eave above the transom window, which when we look in the picture, it was bigger, the picture of the, like, I'm just wondering now if it was actually supposed to be bigger and it didn't get built bigger. But this picture, you see how much bigger that lower eave is over the French door? Because in the winter, it does come right into my couch. And if I'm laying on the couch, it comes right into my, kind of right into my face. That's the only thing I can think of. Otherwise, heating, cooling is not an issue. No real issue with the new sewer hookup because I just tied off the Y from my old sewer, and because it was less than 25 feet, I didn't have to pay really anything because it was so close. And I had pictures, somebody had just had to do a scoping from a neighbor, so I had pictures of exactly where it was. So we knew exactly how to find it, and it didn't cost me anything extra to tie into the sewer, really.
Let me address this eave question for a second. In this 3D rendering, this lower eave here is wider, and I'm not 100% sure why it didn't get constructed that way. I know there was, during permitting, there was some concerns about the size of the eave in the side yards, but that does not affect the eave within the yard. So not exactly sure when that decision got changed. I have to go back and look at the construction documents, but it would have been great if that would have been 6 inches or a foot wider. I'm looking at the chat and we have another question or the same question about cost, and looks like that person, A. Longley, is still online with us. So did you want to address that one, Mary?
Yeah, sure. So the total building costs after I received some credits for either some of the work I did or some of the work they didn't do, ended up being about $109,000. Then the structural engineer and architecture costs were about $10,000. Then the permitting costs were a little over $4,000. And then my costs of appliances, doors, painting, paint, floors, tiles, cabinets, shower surround, things like that, was about $15,000. That includes kitchen cabinets, bathroom cabinets. So the total cost was about $138,000.
That is extremely reasonable, especially in today's dollars. And this was completed late 2019, so that's some pretty current numbers.
Hey Sage, this is Pat. Just curious, what is the size of the unit and cost is this like a renovation or was it a brand new? You probably answered these questions before, but I just joined a couple minutes ago.
That's okay. We're going to go through the slide deck again if you have the time to join us for that, Pat. It's new construction. It's 320 square feet on the main floor with a loft that's about 130 square feet. So that makes it about 450 for the footprint. We haven't calculated out, taken out that wall thickness. So we're somewhere above 400 square feet of living space. And Mary lives there with her 17-year-old son. And we've been talking a lot about the process, working with me, working with the builder who was pro.com. And Mary did a lot of things herself, which is, to me, a little bit unusual with working with clients. You know, there's a lot of do-it-yourselfers out there, and a lot of people wind up, the extent that they do is maybe some trim and then definitely some paint. Mary's done all the tile work. She did a bunch of research on all the different appliances and utilities that went in. And we worked together to pick out the Sandon unit, which is super efficient for the in-floor heat and domestic hot water. And Mary built a couple of sheds on the outside of cedar from an old fence. So she really does live by the reduce, reuse, recycle principles. And her plan is to rent out the big house and continue to live in this house. And she also had some help from a neighbor who's a designer to make a really beautiful outdoor space to sitting space. One other piece of the puzzle we've talked about today that was important was there's an exceptional tree on the neighbor's property. So we had to be nice to that tree in a very literal way in terms of how we put in the foundation of this cottage. And we omitted a concrete patio to basically compromise with the city planning department to be able to move forward with this project. So Mary's very flexible and understands that, you know, there's got to be some give and take in the process. And there was a lot of give and take with the builder as well, because Mary wanted to do all these pieces of the puzzle herself. You know, there's a lot of times where well, especially in the past, where the builder would say, you know, you write the checks and I'll give you the keys when we're done. And this wasn't that kind of project. This was something where she really wanted to be involved, not just to save money, but because she really likes to build things. So does that answer all your questions, Pat? That was kind of fun to run through that.
Oh, that was great. Thanks.
Yeah. So if you want to stick around, we're going to run through another slide deck, and you know, Mary's online with us and has some candid comments as well.
So on that Sandon, is it just heat only? There's no cooling.
I believe it is. That's one of the unanswered questions for today, but she doesn't have an AC, and she doesn't have any heads, right? So pretty sure that does not provide cooling because it's providing domestic hot water.
This is Mary. I did just, for the first time ever, turn down my thermostat because I haven't been able to open my windows.
Right.
For a couple of days.
Right.
So I have been able to use my fans, but I just wanted to see what would happen. Now it is cooler outside, so I don't know how that changes, but I don't have any air conditioning. I just have fans and windows. And so I haven't had any problems with keeping the place cool or warm at all. But with keeping the windows closed right now, I dropped the temperature to 62 just to see what would happen a couple of days ago. And it did, my temperature has dropped 5 degrees in the house. So I don't know if that's because the temperature outside has dropped or if it's because the temperature in the floor, radiant floor is changing. I don't know.
Imagine it's because you changed that thermometer, but it'd be interesting to know how much time did it take to drop that 5 degrees.
Well, I just did this like, I think it was yesterday. So
That's pretty fast.
it does take a little bit of time, but not as long as I would have thought.
No, that's a fast response. I've been warned with radiant floor systems before that if you go on vacation, you can expect a day and a half or so when you get back to get the temperature that you want to be comfortable again if you turn off your system. So that's pretty neat that it has that quick a response. Might have to do with that it's a small space.
Yes, and in the main room, I just had to put a little jacket on, but now I had to move into my little lounge area, my bedroom,
Right?
because my child came home, and so it's the temperature in here now is a little bit warmer. So
Okay.
What's the cost of the sand in terms of installation and operating?
I don't know the answer to that. Do you know, Mary? I would guess somewhere around $5,000 or something like that.
I don't think it was that much. Uh, I want to say it was closer to 3, but I don't have the exact numbers because it was just included in my bid. It was bid into the project, and my bid for the project for that was about $2,500. So I know it was kind
Oh,
of within that kind of frame, uh, cost frame.
okay.
As far as cost um, to run, I don't have a really clear idea for that yet because I'm still paying for the big house electricity and this house electricity right now, and I haven't broken it down. I do have them on separate, um, they are on separate circuits or whatever you call panels, but I haven't looked at that and I should have. So I should do that. I should look at that separately.
Well, you can take a look at your bill, your history of your bill on the big house, right? That would maybe inform that. It's a little bit tricky to isolate it out, but that might